What's up everyone, I'm Miss Peer Editor, and today I'm showing you how to write an effective, unique cover letter that makes you stand out in an applicant pool and gets your foot in the door during the first few stages of the recruiting process. Make sure to watch this video until the end to see an example of a full cover letter. So let's get started. What is a cover letter? It's a one-page letter to a hiring manager that explains why you're the best candidate for a role, and it showcases your knowledge of the organization. This letter often accompanies your resume in a job or internship application. So a lot of us are used to writing and completing dozens and dozens of applications in each recruiting cycle, so it's super tempting to write a one-size-fits-all cover letter. But it's really important to customize your cover letter to the role that you're applying to make sure that you're really standing out. What does the structure of the cover letter actually look like? First, you'll have your introductory paragraph, which includes the role and organization that you're applying to, and that is the first indicator that your cover letter is customized and it's not just a general template. In this intro, you'll also include factors that differentiate you as a candidate. Then the body of your cover letter will typically consist of 1 to 3 short paragraphs, which include examples of your prior experience and the value that you'll add to the team using your experience. And lastly, your conclusion should describe the reason why you are a good fit for the team, the organization, and the role that you're applying for. And it'll also have next steps and a typical thank you message. There are a couple of do's and don'ts you need to know before writing your cover letter. You definitely should highlight your key skills and past contributions, demonstrate an in-depth understanding of the organization's mission and needs, show what you can do for the organization using your unique background, include specific examples and quantifiable results, convey enthusiasm and passion for your role, and use words and a tone that reflect the organization's own branding. And you can do this by reading over the organization's website or even browsing through the LinkedIn profiles and summaries of employees at that organization to see what kind of writing style and language the organization tends to use. In terms of the don'ts, you should not repeat content from your resume. Do not use a general template, so make sure that you customize your cover letter. I can't emphasize that enough. You don't want to list your skills instead of demonstrating them, so you don't want to write out a list or litany of characteristics that describe you, such as I am reliable, diligent, adaptable, etc. Instead, you should try to convey these qualities through your anecdotes and your examples. Don't keep explaining what benefits the role will offer you. And don't offer a repetitive description of the role, since the hiring manager already knows what the role entails. Now let's take a look at an example of a full cover letter. Here is our sample cover letter, and it's the first half of this letter, so take a minute to pause this video and read this over on your own. Okay, so I assume that you've paused this video. Let's get right to it. So at the top right, I've included a header that should usually state your personal contact information, including your name, address, phone number, or email. And usually 1 to 2 of these items are required. You usually don't have to include all 3 of these, but just double check online to see what would be most appropriate for your cover letter. Right below this header on the left, you'll usually include the date in which you are sending your application, include the hiring manager's name if you can find it, and the organization's address. And right below that, you'll have your typical greeting. I wrote "Dear Hiring Manager" here, but make sure to add the hiring manager's name if you actually know it or can find it on LinkedIn. Right at the beginning, we start off with a unique connection to the organization that we are applying to. So In this sample cover letter, we're applying to a children's publishing internship at a publishing company called Perfect Perusal. And in this highlighted section, I immediately show how invested I am in the company because I've known about it since a young age, and that immediately differentiates me because I'm not just applying to this internship because it's something I found online, just like any other internship. I actually have a personal connection to it. So if you can add that at the beginning, that will definitely help you stand out. And in this next portion, I've included some more differentiating factors that actually show how my background in social media marketing and my experience as the first editor-in-chief of this college magazine will really help me succeed in this role. And not only do I include those differentiating factors, but I use those factors to transition right into the value that I will add to the organization. And I specifically say that I'll help Perfect Perusal champion emerging writers with fresh perspectives, which shows that I have a clear understanding of the company's mission. In the second paragraph, I go into some examples of my own experience. So I included some quantifiable contributions, and you can see that I included specific numbers. I said that I increased purchases of the magazine by 34% and generated a 10% click-through rate. So these numbers are key, and you should definitely try to include numbers whenever possible because they illustrate your direct impact in a very succinct manner. And this whole paragraph contains a specific example with applicable skills. So I talked about trainings that I facilitated and conveyed the fact that I am actually skilled in copy editing, photography, and fact checking. But I also implied that I have other skills such as leadership and collaboration. And even though I never actually said the words leadership and collaboration, these skills definitely do come across through my anecdote. This is the second half of the cover letter. Pause this video now and take a minute to read it over. Okay, so now let's dive into how I wrote this part of the cover letter. This underlined section shows that I identified a specific trend based on data I collected during an internship for Best Reads Now, which is a made-up online community for readers. So here I'm showing that I have data analysis skills, and I also specifically described the tool that I used, SurveyMonkey, to make my poll. So whenever you can describe tools or platforms or software that you've used, try to do that as much as possible. But I didn't just stop there. After that, I explained that I completed this project, an Instagram campaign, using the findings from my data. So this shows that I can take data that I've collected and actually apply it in a real world context. And lastly, I've included the effect of my project. I showed that this campaign garnered the attention of key influencers, which made a direct contribution to the organization that I was interning for. But not every anecdote has a very neat success story like this, so don't worry if you don't feel that you can write a similar story like this one. Instead, try to talk about the key takeaways from your project and what you've learned from each experience if you feel that you can't describe a specific successful story. And by describing those key takeaways, you'll be able to show how curious, resilient, and thoughtful you are about every project that you pursue. In this fourth paragraph, I describe the qualities that I will bring to the organization, including an attention to detail, collaborative mindset, and data analytics knowledge. So I know that I said not to list out specific characteristics or qualities, but these are actually very specific skills that I would need for the role that I'm applying to. They're not just general character traits such as being hardworking or being adaptable. And in this next highlighted portion, I offered specific ideas to add value, and this is really important to include in your cover letter. I explained that I could develop outreach campaigns across different social media platforms to attract new authors and also spearhead a mentorship program. So not only does this show my drive and my initiative to create new projects that will actually add value to the team, but this also shows that I've been thinking a lot about what the organization's needs actually are. And then we have our last paragraph of the cover letter, in which I reiterate why I'm a good candidate for this role. And I also explained the next steps. I said that I'm looking forward to discussing my qualifications with the hiring manager and learning more. So this is a subtle way to show that I hope to be able to have the opportunity to interview with the hiring manager and go through the next steps of the process. And I ended by saying, thank you for your time and consideration. And usually you'll close out with a ending salutation such as the word sincerely or thank you, anything along those lines. Thanks for watching. In the comments below, let me know if you are writing a cover letter for a specific application. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, subscribe, and tap the bell to receive notifications whenever I make a new tutorial. I will see you next time.